to learn from, especially given that this exposure has also opened ways, or would open ways, for the local talent that has, been participating in the CHAN matches. People talked about our group being the group of death, but they forgot that all these players who are playing, who are turning out for their respective teams in CHAN, ply their trade in the local leagues. None of the so-called professionals, even when we take the example of Morocco, none of the players who turned out for them during the World Cup, who currently play in the professional leagues, were part of this particular team. So it means that we need to organize ourselves, we need to organize our clubs, and we need to give the players an opportunity, right, to showcase their talents in the local league. But that behoves another major requirement, that there ought to be a lot of incentives put into football. The incentives that were availed by the president or by the government through the sports fund, we saw what eventually it did to the performance of the boys.
All right, so incentives. You're saying incentives played a big role in how we performed. As a former coach, Ghost, did you experience pressure from quote-unquote godfathers? I think that's how one of our viewers put it when we've been receiving feedback in the course of this CHAN. Or were you free to select your team, free to bring in your technical team?
Well, let me tell you, all the time that I've coached the Harambee Stars, no, I've had that kind of pressure, but I've never succumbed to that kind of pressure, because at the end of the day, I remember in one of the games, I named my team very early when I was in charge against Togo. My first game in charge, I was then 35 years, and somebody came and told me that the people are complaining because I named my team on a Thursday. I say, what are they complaining about? And the senior member of the Football Federation, I say, they are complaining about your first 11. And then I asked him, what do you mean? I mean, I went to Holland to learn football. I went to Germany to study my football. So what are you telling me? And I wouldn't say what he said, but I told him, you know what? If Kenya loses tomorrow, it's not going to be Ghost Mulee and you. It's going to be Ghost as the coach. And I played the same team that I selected. And they beat Togo 3-0 with Adebayo in. So when you really, you allow such, then when you fail, the blame goes to you. So I don't think there's any team or any coach who will allow to be interfered with in terms of selection. Benny McCarthy is a professional coach. He has come in, he had not seen many of the local players, but when he watches them in training, he makes decisions and he can drop any player anytime. And I remember the late Fabish, I was his assistant, God rest his soul in eternal peace. He said, Harambee Stars is like a rotating door. I can call you tomorrow, you have a Kenyan passport, and you can play for the national team tomorrow. So that's not something that needs to be done. But I think there's a sigh of relief, because from the previous administration, there were rumors that some players were being pushed into the team or coaches were being forced. But with Benny McCarthy, I don't think he has time for such. All right.
So, okay. Lord Vic, you talked about incentives. Do you think incentives, that bonus that the players were getting for every win, $1,500,000 for a draw and affordable houses, do you think that for you was a determining factor in terms of how well they played?